Every so often, a golfer steps up and says, "To heck with playing it safe," takes a massive risk, and pulls off something so incredible that it becomes the stuff of legend. Today, we're diving into the top 5 times golfers risked it all and won big. These moments are bold, brilliant, and sometimes just plain bonkers. Stick around till the end because the final story is proof that even when the odds seem stacked against you, sometimes a gamble is all you need. Let's kick things off with one of the most iconic figures in golf history, Arnold Palmer. Now, Arnie wasn't just any golfer, he was the golfer of his time. Known as the King, Palmer had this way of connecting with fans. He wasn't born into privilege. He grew up in a working-class family in Pennsylvania, learning the game on the course where his dad worked as a greenskeeper. His style? Aggressive. This guy played like every shot was make or break, and honestly, it was thrilling to watch. In 1960, Palmer arrived at the US Open at Cherry Hills Country Club with some serious momentum. He'd already won the Masters that year and fans were buzzing about his chances. But after 3 rounds, things didn't look great. He was 7 shots behind the leader Mike Sochak and tied for 15th place. Most people would have thrown in the towel, but Arnie, oh no, he saw an opportunity where others saw a lost cause. The final round started with a par 4 first hole. Most players would take out an iron, lay up, and play it safe. But Palmer pulled out his driver and went for the green. That's right, he aimed to hit the green on a hole where most people wouldn't even consider it. It was a huge gamble, but it worked. He smashed his drive, landed on the green, and set up an easy birdie. That bold start set the tone for the rest of the round. He birdied 6 of the first 7 holes and shot a record-tying 30 on the front 9. By the end, Palmer had clawed his way to the top and won his only US Open title. That win didn't just earn him the trophy, it cemented his reputation as the fearless king of comeback golf. Now, let's fast forward to the 2010 Masters and talk about Phil Mickelson. Phil, or Lefty as he's affectionately known, is one of those players who makes the impossible look easy. But let's be clear, Phil loves taking risks. His creativity on the course is legendary, and so are his gutsy decisions. Case in point, the 13th hole at Augusta National during the final round. Phil's ball was sitting on the pine straw under a cluster of trees. To make matters worse, a creek was waiting in front of the green to gobble up any mishit shots. Most golfers, let's be honest, most sane golfers, would have just laid up, taken a safe shot, and hoped for par. But not Phil. He saw a tiny gap between the trees, calculated his odds, and decided to go for it with a 6-iron. And by tiny, I mean tiny. It was one of those thread the needle kind of shots that make you hold your breath just watching. Phil swung, the ball flew, and it somehow made it through the trees, over the creek, and onto the green. It was nothing short of magical. That birdie helped him build momentum, and he went on to win his 3rd Masters title. It's the kind of shot you dream about pulling off on the course, though let's face it, most of us would probably end up in the creek. This was a particularly emotional win. In May 2009, Phil's wife Amy was diagnosed with breast cancer. Golf took a backseat in light of this for Phil. Later in 2009, Phil's mother was also diagnosed with cancer. With his wife seeing improvements in 2010, Phil's biggest win was being able to share this achievement with his family by his side. We can't skip over Bubba Watson in 2012. Now, Bubba's an interesting guy. He's self-taught, doesn't use a swing coach, and plays with a style that's all his own. Watching him is like watching an artist paint. It's unpredictable, creative, and sometimes just plain weird. But man, does it work! In the 2012 Masters, Bubba found himself in a sudden death playoff against Louis Oosthuizen. On the 2nd playoff hole, Bubba's tee shot landed deep in the trees on the right side of the 10th fairway. To say he was in trouble would be an understatement. There was no clear line to the green, just a mess of trees and a tiny gap about the size of a trash can lid. But Bubba saw a shot that no one else would have even considered. Using his wedge, he hit an insane hook shot that curved 40 yards in the air and somehow landed perfectly on the green. Let me repeat that. A 40-yard hook with a wedge in a playoff at the Masters. The crowd went nuts, and Bubba went on to make par and win the tournament. That shot isn't just one of the best in Masters history, it's one of the best in golf history, period. Check out the video on my channel, Top 5 Most Insane Golf Shots of All Time, for some more incredible shots that'll give you goosebumps. Next up, we've got Rory McIlroy and his 2011 US Open performance at Congressional Country Club. Rory was just 22 at the time, but he played like an experienced pro. After 3 rounds, he was leading by a whopping 8 strokes. Most people in his position would have played it safe, just hit fairways and greens, avoid mistakes, and cruise to victory. But Rory had other ideas. Instead of taking his foot off the gas, he stayed aggressive. He attacked pins, kept hitting drivers, and basically put on a clinic on how to close out a major championship. He shot a final round 69 and won by 8 strokes, setting a tournament record in the process. What's impressive here isn't just the margin of victory, it's that he had the guts to stick to his game plan even with such a massive lead. It's a great lesson in confidence. If you know what works for you, don't be afraid to stick with it. Finally, let's talk about the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, and his legendary 1986 Masters win. Jack was 46 years old at the time, and most people thought his days of winning majors were behind him. But on Sunday at Augusta, he turned back the clock in spectacular fashion. The back nine that day is the stuff of legend. Jack made birdies on 10, 11, and 13, then an eagle on 15 that had the crowd going absolutely wild. The eagle was especially gutsy. He hit a long iron over water to set it up, a shot that required pinpoint accuracy. On 16, he nearly aced the par 3, and on 17, he drained a massive putt for birdie to take the lead. By the time he tapped in for par on 18, he'd secured his 6th green jacket and become the oldest Masters champion in history. What made this win so special wasn't just the age factor, it was the way Jack played under pressure. Every shot was calculated, but every decision had an edge of boldness that only comes from a lifetime of experience. It's a reminder that sometimes taking a risk isn't about being reckless. It's about trusting yourself when the stakes are highest. So, what's the takeaway here? Golf is about more than just playing it safe. Sure, consistency wins tournaments, but the moments we remember, the ones that make us cheer, gasp, and maybe even tear up, are the risks. They're the times when a golfer stands over the ball and thinks, yeah, this might not work, but I'm going for it anyway. And when it pays off, it's pure magic. So, next time you're out on the course facing a tough decision, channel your inner Palmer, Mickelson, Watson, McIlroy, or Nicklaus. Who knows? Maybe your own risky shot will pay off big. Or, maybe just keep a spare ball handy. Either way, it's all part of the game. Are there other moments you'd like to add to this list? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe for more golf videos like this.